I'd had the pleasure of chatting with Richard Jackson over the table, actually, and learning a little bit more about his life. And I got his book. And when he gave me his book, he said, get a tissue ready, right? Isn't that what you said?
Something like that.
For the first chapter. And believe me, it's a tearjerker. It really is. I mean, it was from the heart. His wife, who's in the audience today, wrote a chapter in the book. And I was just like, I could not believe the stories that I read in there. And so tell us, what made you write this book, and share whatever you'd like with the audience.
Well, I didn't really purposely sit down to write a book. Writing was my outlet inside. And I used to
you were in prison, just so that everybody knows that this is where
Yes.
it's coming from, the real thing.
Sadly regret, I took another black man's life when I was 16 years old, and I spent 26 years in prison from the age of 16 to 42 years old. During my incarceration, I did everything to better myself. I wasn't...
Oh, your book, I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah.
Yes. And I just used to always write and write and write. And I write from my heart because that's what helps me live. And one day my bishop came over and he seen like the manuscripts and he said, I'm gonna publish this for you. And here it is.
Yeah, it's a book worth reading because you cover so many things. You talk to the ladies, and I mean the women that are involved. I don't know how to put this. I'm going to let you put it, Richard.
I don't know how to put it either, but I know I started off the chapter saying that a lot of guys are going to be mad at me because it's a shame that you have a lot of women. And I go into the correctional facility, Schenectady County, and you'll see that when the females get visits, it's very few men there. But when the men get visits, it's full of females. And the men tend to take advantage of a lot of females. And females have to be put on point to the games that a lot of guys
And you did
play.
that very well. So because you're involved in the Schenectady, can you tell our viewers, and I encourage you to read the book, but what are you doing now in Schenectady I know you're with Community Fathers, you're involved with a lot of different groups. Tell us how you're trying to make awareness and to make life better.
I work for Youth Support, Inc. Youth Support, Inc. is a non-for-profit organization. We got a grant from Schenectady Foundation, and what we do, we community safety prevention. We on the streets, we talk to the guys on the streets. We try to get them access to agencies and groups that they need to get off of the streets. If there is a shooting or a stabbing, we go there, we try to de-escalate the situation, we try to prevent any type of retaliation on the incidents. With Community Fathers, I go in, once I do intake, we try to prepare the guys to make a successful transition back into society once they come home. I think we're the only one in the country that actually goes to the county jail. A lot of programs are focused on state jail, so we try to get them in the county jail because statistics shows that once they enter the county jail, 9 out of 10, they coming back for a harsher crime and will eventually go upstate.
Okay, now I'm not familiar with the prison system, and I'm just wondering now, the county jail, how many does it hold, number one, and what are they there for, and how long are they there? I'm giving you too many questions, but you get the idea.
I don't know if I'm a professional with the county statistics, but I think the county jail holds about 2,000 individuals.
2,000 in the county?
Close to it, if I'm not mistaken, because they got the new jail.
Well, that's just a big number.
and the
I'm
old
thinking
jail.
300, 200.
It might be. I might need some help on that.
Okay.
But it's a lot of individuals, and they could be there from petty crimes, from laundering to murder in the second degree. The average.
But is it kind of a holding, or is this a place they're going to stay?
No, it's holding until a court procedures is over, whether they plea bargain or go to trial, and that's it.
Yeah, well, I'm just like amazed when I'm reading this book. You certainly were able to, and I know that you were rebellious for a portion of that time in prison, but something changed you. What was that?
My mother, she tried to commit suicide because she shouldered the blame for me going to prison at such a young age. And she just couldn't accept the fact that a baby boy at 15 years, 16 years old would not be home until 35. That was the original sentence, but I didn't make it home until I was 42 because Pataki had an
Was your mom still with you then?
Yes.
You have a brother. You had a brother who really tried to help you as well.
Yes, my brother is a retired correction officer. He did 26 years in corrections, and I did 26 years in corrections too.
Well, just a little bit different side of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Must have been hard for him to see you there, knowing what your life was like.
Yes, and that was also a turning point for me too, because one day he told me, he said, I understand you did a crime, you got to pay, but what about me? Because we only like 6 months apart, so we grew up as twins and we're very close. And for him to say that, it made me realize something that a lot of guys in prison don't realize, that your crime don't only affect you and the victim, it affects your family too, because they doing that time with you. Mm-hmm. You're a missing link within the family that's no longer there.
And you had a wife who was so dedicated to you.
Yes, I have a very supportive wife.
And she wrote a chapter in the book, which was just an incredible chapter. My heart just went right with you when I read that.
And that's what the book do. It describes a lot of the stuff that you don't hear about regularly. Mm-hmm. You know, like people like my wife and son going through the process of a visit.
It was like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's not just going to the door, I want to see Richard Jackson, and you get in. It's a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of travel. Yes.
Travel. She did it all, and she bore up, and she's by your side right now, and aren't you the lucky man? Yeah, you really are. You've made it, and the fact that you're trying to share that with others, share your story, and also share your energy and your compassion to the people that were in the position that you were at one time, that you can turn that around. That's just amazing.
And Pastor Ted is also helping me get into the schools. We've been into Mount Pleasant Middle School, and the kids are really gravitating towards it. It's real talk to kids that's out there that's plagued with a lot of the environmental factors that's affecting them in their thinking. So Pastor Ted is helping me get into the schools on a regular, Mr. Ted Ward, where I could actually have classes with the kids.
Yeah. And not only that, they need a mentor sometimes, and maybe their father is absent for whatever reason, and maybe you may be the only person that they can look up to and listen to. So you carry a very heavy burden.
And that's the thing. Yes, I do. And I love that burden, and I make it a point to tell them I'm not a hero. No. Don't live my life. No. You know, I did 26 years, but it almost killed me. That's not the life you want to live. And they have to hear that, because it seems like the prison system has become a rites of passage for these young kids, and they think that they got to go through that to be cool. And we got to start dispelling those factors to them at an early age.
Yeah, Richard, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing, and for the people that are supporting you, and to the schools that are allowing you to speak out and maybe change. We can't change the world, but maybe we can change this much of it, and you're starting it right there. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
So glad to have met you.